What a cozy, perfect, delectable evening. I'm KP. Oh my God, I stole your line.
That's totally fine, KP. I'm Kristen. And you know what? It's always good to be here. It doesn't matter what order we talk in. Just happy to see your beautiful face and happy to be joined by all the listeners out there. Welcome to the Nightly from Hatch, a slumber party for pop culture lovers.
This is one of those moments where us having the same name really confuses my brain because I saw Kristen and I said, that's my name. That's me.
Listeners, did you know that KP's name was Kristen, by the way? Do they know that?
I'm outing myself here, but that's on the birth certificate. And it's spelled, Kristen spells hers the exact right way.
Correct. Yes, we are both tens. We are not tins. Yes.
And everyone says that about us, that we're both tens.
We absolutely are.
I always say this. Well, aside from me stealing your line, I have a feeling it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful night. I'm feeling quite relaxed. I'm feeling like it's been a real, I actually feel like I haven't forgotten any emails, any annoying things. So now I get to just like live my life in peace. How's your life going, Kristen?
Oh, I love that when everything's crossed off the to-do list. I very fortunately had one of those days, and it might be because my list only had like 6 items today.
That's fine. I like a list that's like very manageable.
Yeah.
I do those often.
And some of the items on the list were like things that took 4 minutes to do, but who cares? I crossed it off the list, right?
Have you seen this girl that is making videos where she is helping her friends and family do something that they've been procrastinating?
No.
And so she is like, so how long have you been procrastinating this? And they'll be like, 3 years avoiding cleaning my junk drawer. And then she gets there. And then at the end, she's like, okay, that took 36 minutes. And it like really puts into perspective that like, I have so many of those things that I'm like, yeah, that's been now 2 years that I've been saying I'm going to have a yard sale to get rid of some old things. And I should just do it.
You can do it. You can do it, especially if you do it in small bits where it's just like, today I'm just going to gather up, shirts that are no longer serving a purpose for me anymore.
Yeah.
And that would probably take you less than 7 minutes to just grab the shirts in your house that you're like, I don't need these shirts anymore, right?
That's what I've been doing a little bit. I've been like, okay, if I put 5 articles of clothing on Depop to sell them, then eventually I will get rid of all of the stuff in my closet that I don't like. So I'm trying to do like 5 a week.
Oh, that's great. And does not take long at all, right?
No, it does not.
Well, KP, I love that you and I have been so productive today, taking care of our to-do lists. But something else we've been doing, which is not a to-do item, it's just a pleasure item, is you and I have been doing a lot of reading lately. So
Agree.
Shall we kick off another round of the Nightly Book Club and talk about what it is we've been reading?
Please.
All right. I want to start with you. I feel like you read such good books. You have such interesting and varied tastes in authors and so on. So what is one of the books that you've really enjoyed recently?
Okay, well, humiliatingly, I think last time I spoke about books on this podcast, I was still reading this book. So I never said I was fast, but I do read.
It's not about speed.
No.
It really isn't. Anybody else out there who is like, those speed readers who are like, I read like 4 books a day. Bless your hearts. I really admire you, but wow.
But some of my hometown friends, I mean, I look at their list of books that they put at the end of the year and I'm like, I need to do some calculations to see if there were even that many minutes in the day because you and I are operating on a different set. I don't know how that worked for you. 200 and something books?
Okay, I confess I'm one of the people who do that, but I read 245 books last year. But
Kristen.
But you know why, Katie? I listen to books.
Okay.
And because I listen to them always at least 1.5 speed, always. That means
you're big braining.
That means every day when I'm cleaning the house or taking my daily walk or if I'm in transit. So this is not a brag by any means. My husband reads way more than I do. And I'm like, how does he do it?
Is he also doing audiobooks all the time?
He's just a fast reader with his eyes.
Yeah.
He's one of those people.
I am fast with my eyes. Like if you actually put a book in front of me, I'm quite speedy. But I really enjoy podcasts and music in my day. So I'm usually doing that throughout my day when I'm listening. But anyway, here's what I'm up to. I'm still reading the book Ancillary Justice. This is a sci-fi, a newer sci-fi by, I think, Anne Leckie is the name. And I was interested because it says it got a Hugo Award, which in sci-fi, that's
always a good sign. Yes.
really great. And especially a new sci-fi. I'm like, I'm a sci-fi lover. Robert Heinlein, Ursula Le Guin. I like, the old sci-fis really hit for me.
Yeah.
Now, with Love and Respect, this one's not hitting.
Oh, no.
This is why it's been taking me a bit, because I'm really trying my darndest. I really have a rule that if I start it, we're going to get to the finish line.
Okay, you and I are so different. If you start it,
Really?
even if you're not enjoying it, you force yourself?
I do, because I firmly believe that some things can really turn around once you have better context. Like, I think some shows, some movies,
True.
where the beginning is like, that's not hitting. Then you get more information and you're like, okay, now I'm really in for the long haul.
Wow.
But this is really tempting me to not finish. It's not horrible. It's definitely not horrible. It is just, sci-fi is such a genre where it is like, clarity can be so important, because we're picturing things that don't exist. We're picturing different timelines. We're picturing different planets. So when there's a lack of clarity, I'm just frustrated. I'm like not having the best time.
So is the lack of clarity mostly with the world building, the story, the characters, all of the above?
It's kind of all, and including the structure too. So it's one of those books where it is like two timelines are kind of happening at once. Like a flashback throughout is occurring as well as a current day, which I enjoy, but it does add a little like your brain's working a bit to remember which timeline we're in and what's happening in each of them, So already that's occurring. And then this author has decided that in this one language, there aren't multiple pronouns. So, and that's like a cool idea. I'm like down to try and see what other language, things can happen, but it does make it hard to follow who is doing what and sort of what they look like. And like, it's just in general, I'm like, wait, who's speaking right now? And then we have a character who is like kind of a cyborg-esque, so there's not a ton of emotional depth so far. So I'm having just a hard time latching onto anything. That's where I'm at.
This sounds really tough, KP.
This is a hard one. And I like a hard sci-fi because, like, I will say, what's the one? The Dispossessed, I think, was one that I read last year by Ursula Le Guin. And that was a bit difficult. It was like, okay, there's big themes, there's multiple planets, but that was like, okay, that's difficult for a payoff, and there's a lot of emotional depth. This one, I'm sticking in, and I'm just not even seeing where something will pay off.
KP, you don't have to finish it. I know that I know you don't need my permission, but I just feel like I've forced myself before. I've forced myself to. There was one book, maybe 6 months ago. I think the book was like 1,000 pages, and I forced myself to get through 700 of them. And I just finally said, you know what? Not one more minute of my life is being wasted on this. And it was like, I was being like you. I'm like, this can turn around. Maybe this can turn around. And I talked to one friend who said, but you're already almost 3/4 of the way through. You should just finish. And I'm like, not another minute of my life. No.
I know. Here's the only thing that's keeping me is like, it has a Hugo Award and a Nebula Award. And I'm like, this has to be
those
for
are the
a reason.
Big awards
Those
for
are the
sci-fi.
big ones.
If you're a sci-fi author, those are the ones you want. Yeah.
So I go, okay, clearly something good must come of this if we have a Hugo and a Nebula on the front cover.
Yeah.
But maybe the judges and we don't have the same vibes, and that's okay too. I did say last time I brought this book up, I picked this book as my book club book. So now I have 6 of my friends slogging through the same book, and none of them like it either. They're all mad at me.
Oh my gosh.
I chose it because I was like, oh, perfect. This is a no-brainer. It's got awards. And now everyone's mad at me. Everyone's having a bad time this month.
You know what? We've all done that. Any of us who've been in a book club, we've been the person picking the bad book. I do it a lot, I must confess. I accidentally pick bad. I just don't think I'm a good picker. And so I just... I know you're paying KP. You feel a responsibility here.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
That makes it even harder to quit because your book club are they're trying to slog through it.
I am 2/3 of the way through. I just have to buckle down. I just have to buckle my knuckles and get to reading this book. It's just hard because I read before bed. This is part of my wind down. And it doesn't feel like a treat right now to go to my 30 minutes in this book. But we're almost done. We're just going to get to the end. Here's my last thing I'll say. I'm saying we're almost done. It is a trilogy.
Oof.
But I'm sorry, we're not going to be reading 2 and 3. 2 and 3 won't be making.
1 and done is fine. You don't have to read the whole trilogy.
Unless it gets really good at the end here. We'll see. But I think we might be finished after this.
I know you don't need my permission. I'm giving you permission to never read anything in this trilogy again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully we're almost finished and then I can move on. Because I have like a stack of 7. I arranged my bookshelf by what I'm going to be reading next. So I have like 7 books waiting for their turn in line at the end of the bookshelf here.
And those other books are like, You Will Love Us. We're right here.
Well, I have a lot. Yeah, I have some classics that I'm like, it seems as if I should read. What's one that Dante's Inferno is up there. And I'm like, that's probably a good one to hit.
I need to hit some of those classics. I feel like there are so many classics where I'm like, did I even read that? Or if I read it, did I just skim it while I was in high school?
Totally. And I feel like I like the classics because then you're like a part of a bunch of inside jokes that you didn't know you were missing out on, I feel like. Where you're like, even in like Looney Tunes, when they mention Dr. Faustus or something, then you're like, I've read that.
Yes.
Or something like that. So, and some of them become my favorites. I love Frankenstein. That's one of my all-time faves.
Mary Shelley. Love that gal.
Absolutely.
Love her.
Last thing, if you enjoy this book, or if you're Anne Leckie herself listening to this, I think you're lovely and I think you're wonderful. And I really like sci-fi and I really like that anyone is writing new sci-fi and it all helps.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's just not a match. It's like online dating. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person. We're just not a match here. Me and this book.
We're just not a match.
Right.
And it could be even for this season. I could try reading it in 1 year and it might be my favorite book of all time. Sometimes it's just got to hit you right.
Yeah.
And right now, I'm in a different wavelength.
Absolutely.
Okay. Kristen, tell me you've got something good for me.
All right. So as I was saying earlier, I listen to a lot of my books. I would say I read with my eyes only about 25% of books, and at least 3/4 I listen to. And the books that I find easiest to listen to are usually first-person novels or memoirs, because they're also spoken in the first person. And they almost then feel like listening to a long podcast, if that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. That's such a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I listened to a lot of both of those types of books. And one I listened to recently was My Mama Cass by Owen Elliott Kugel. And this is written by Cass Elliot's daughter, Cass Elliot, who is the famous front lady for the 1960s group, the Mamas and the Papas. And Owen Elliott Kugel, she was quite young when her mother died, and she decided, I want to learn all about my mom. I want to intersperse it with memories. I want to talk with her old bandmates. I want to look at historical texts, documents. I want to look at other people's memoirs that have been written from the 1960s and 70s and just paint a fuller picture of who my mom was and kind of get to know her and what her life was like, what her accomplishments were, what her insecurities were, and so on. And it's just a beautiful tribute to her mom. We learn about her mom's political activism. We learn about how Mama Cass really had to be a strong person because she was constantly treated like a punchline as a fat lady. She was a fat lady who owned who she was, who took up space, and who had a fantastic kind of sense of humor and charisma. She owned a room when she was in it. Her voice was phenomenal. She had a beautiful singing voice, and none of that mattered to the jokesters at the time. And so much of what Owen Elliott Kugel's trying to do is just say, my mom was all these other things. She's not, just your punchline. She was all these other things too. And I love the sense of history in the book. I love the sense of love for her mom that really comes through on each page. And just she does such a great job of drawing a picture of what this time in America was, the struggles that
Sure.
people were facing, the struggles that women were facing, and so on. But then also a lot of the things that were exciting at the time. And so I'm not the biggest Mamas and the Papas fan, even. I mean, my biggest exposure to Mama Cass was as a little kid watching the Scooby-Doo episode that Mama Cass, do you remember Mama Cass was?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. I think so. That's ringing a bell when you said that.
And that's how I discovered who Mama Cass was as a little kid watching Scooby-Doo. And Mama
Yeah.
Cass, that episode they would rerun all the time because it was a very popular episode of the show. But I remember just thinking, oh, she's so funny. And she had this kind of smoky voice. I've always liked
Yes.
broads with smoky voices like Kathleen Turner or Lauren Bacall, you know, those ladies who sound like broads. And
Yeah.
Cass Elliot kind of had that voice. And so she was a great voice actor for Scooby-Doo. But then I mean, I also do like her music, like California Dreamin' and, you know,
Absolutely.
Dream a Little Dream. All the songs that she sang were really great. And so, you know, maybe check out some of the Mamas and the Papas music and read this
Definitely.
book. Or, you know, I think if you just listen to a couple of the Mamas and the Papas songs and then read the book together, her singing voice is so beautiful. I think it will just add a little something extra to reading the book, even if you know, don't know that much about Mama Cass.
Well, what drew you to pick up this book? You just like memoirs in general. You said you like listening to them, but how did you kind of pick this one?
Well, there was another book I read last year, From Here to the Great Beyond, I believe it was called, where Riley, I thought it was pronounced Riley Coe, but maybe it's Riley Keogh. She is the daughter of Lisa Marie Presley, the granddaughter
Oh,
of
yes.
Elvis. Oh, okay. The Pillow Fort Encyclopedia has a pronunciation guide, and it is Riley Keough. I'm so sorry, Riley.
Yes, of course.
I never pronounce your name right. Riley Keough. And she wrote a beautiful tribute to her mom that is folded into her mom's attempt at writing a memoir. And her mom died before she finished her book. And so the book is
Wow.
kind of like both of them in conversation and finishing each other's sentences. And I thought
Oh
it
my God,
was
that's beautiful.
such a beautiful book. I'm like, I'd be interested in reading another book where I'm seeing through someone else's eyes who somebody famous is. And I thought a daughter's perspective is really interesting because daughters aren't objective people by any means, and they bring their own baggage and so on, but they're also bringing their own love to the story. So I'm like, I would love to read another story like that. So that's what inspired me to pick it up.
Wow. Very cool. Okay, My Mama Cass. That is a fun one.
Yes.
What else do you have for us?
Well, I'll tell you a book that is on my to-be-read shelf, since you mentioned
good.
something on your to-be-read shelf. KP, as a sometimes New Yorker, I think you'll be curious about this book. You're kind of bi-coastal, but
Yes.
this is a book called Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino. It's a novel about a person on the East Coast who wants to get out of her tiny, cramped apartment and into a bigger property, and saves up enough money to do it, but keeps getting outbid by other people. And in a very desperate state, this character apparently begins doing some questionable things in their hopes to land themselves on the real estate ladder. This was recommended by a friend of mine who knows that I read Zillow. I do it addictively. I do it irrationally. I do it viscerally. And so I also watch those HGTV shows. So I'm totally in, you know, the right market to read a book like this.
Oh, I like that. I love questionable activity. I love a flawed main character. This sounds very fun.
Yeah. And I haven't started it yet. Like I said, it's on my to-be-read list. But it currently, I think, has a 3-month wait for here in my Brooklyn library.
Whoa, good for her. Okay, next on my line of books I'm looking at. Well, so on my to-be-read list, it's the next one, and I'm on a time limit here, is Wuthering Heights.
Oh my gosh.
I've got to read before the movie.
The movie's coming out any second now.
I gotta go.
Oh my gosh.
I'm on a time limit here. I know. Well, I'll see how fast I can read. I am fast when I put my mind to it, but maybe I'll have to read the book afterwards, but it'll be soon. And we'll see if I like it. That time period sometimes can be a bit meandering as the writing style in that time period sometimes is a little slow for me.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, it's not efficient writing. It's
flowery. It's romantic period. That's what we want.
It's wordy. It's very why say something in 4 words when you can say it in 40?
Yes. And this is, I'm missing on some great classics because they just aren't exactly my style. The romantic period just never exactly hit me. And I don't even know if Wuthering Heights is romantic period. Nobody be yelling right now. You have to go to sleep anyway, so you can't be getting your cortisol up. But that is what I'm thinking will be next up, will be Wuthering Heights.
Can I just give you a little spoiler? It's not that much of a spoiler. It's like you'll see it in the first chapter. So one thing this book does, which is one of my pet peeves, is rather than just tell you the story, there's this guy who I think he's like hiking through bad weather and we have to follow this guy first and it's terrible weather and then he happens upon a cottage and then in the cottage he warms up and la da 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 and then at the cottage the guy says, I have a story to tell you. And then that ends up being...
Yes. Well, this is Frankenstein for sure.
That ends up being Wuthering Heights. And I'm like, why can't we just have Wuthering Heights without this whole thing?
It is interesting. Did Little Women do that too? No. Little Women gets right into it.
Little Women gets right into it, I think.
Okay, great. What if Frankenstein does this also where you're like, oh my gosh, they have a whole story that is not relevant for a second. And then it kind of ties in. But yes, they were doing that. It was an odd little story structure they did back then.
Yeah, I don't need it to be bookended. Just start the story. Let's get into it. That being said, I remember as a kid reading Wuthering Heights and thinking, oh, Heathcliff.
I know. He's
so brooding.
Quite the brooding, which is really we'll see if it hits for me.
Okay, so you may or may not drop the sci-fi book, but then you have so many good books to read next. You got the Wuthering Heights, you got Dante's Inferno, got all those other books on your shelf. So I think regardless, everybody will win in the end because as long as there's another book to read, you're always a winner. That's how I feel.
Well, I think with that, this winner is going to go to bed. I will talk to you next time. Good night, Kristen.
Sweet dreams, KP. Dream of Heathcliff.